Big Fat Panda.
I'm the Big Fat Panda. Skadoosh.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. Dan Cockerell.
Hello.
Hey, I'm going to give you the panda hug.
I heard about this.
Okay, is it a good thing?
All right. Yeah.
Did Dad warn you? Did he say it's this guy wants to hug you? It's really weird.
It's pretty famous, but now I can check that off my bucket list.
Awesome. So you're coming from the Vice President of the Magic Kingdom. The first thing, before we even get into the whole Magic Kingdom, what are you doing? What's Dan Cockerell's new? Because that had to envelop your whole self. What are you now?
Well, it's funny. Yesterday, Monday, was the first day I didn't have to go to work in like 27 years. And so I woke up, I rolled over to my wife, I said, hey, I'm unemployed. Let's go walk the dog. So she said, I thought we're doing a business thing. I said, oh yeah, we are. I'm not unemployed. I launched my website about 3 weeks ago, dancockerell.com.
It's going to be right up there. What color is it?
I hope it's not green.
Okay, no. What color? Can you look? Can you see it? What color is it?
White.
Okay, good.
Thank you. So dancockerell.com, and I put a little bit of my history out there and some experiences at Disney, and I'm going to be doing keynote speeches on leadership, on management, on everything I've learned over time, some executive coaching, team coaching, and then a concept I call the virtual COO. So it's if small startups don't have enough money to hire a chief operating officer or someone to really think about strategy or think about resources, they can hire me to come in and help them out and either support them virtually or in person. But I'm just taking kind of, once again, everything I've learned over 27 years running operations at Disney and seeing how I can help people with how they live their lives, how they lead their people, how they manage their businesses, and share that.
Wow, it seems like you'd definitely be the greatest person for that. Does Dad does something similar, right?
He does.
Does it feel slightly like, oh, you can't get me? Hold on, Dan. Yeah.
That's exactly how it's working. If he's not available, or people say that's a little steep, that price, he flicks me. I call it flicking the crumb, and I get the crumb, and I get to put something and hopefully get a little bit. But of
eventually it'll be equal.
Oh, eventually I'm going to bring him to his knees, and I'll be controlling all his people. But right now, he's helping me a lot.
I know this goes without saying, but I have to ask anyway. Would you say that Dad pretty much taught you everything about management style, or would you say no? Maybe I think you're going to say yeah.
He's been a huge influence, and when you think about just the impact he had at Walt Disney World, he wrote the Great Leader Strategies. He led the whole change in the '90s around the leadership and how we need to invest in people, and that was big. So I learned not only personally growing up with that, but I learned through his leadership at Disney. So I've been immersed in that, and I would say 99% of what I've learned about leadership and how to treat people is him. Yeah.
I would say that as an outsider, it's really a little weird because I feel like I'm talking to Dad.
Yeah,
I've heard. You also look a little bit like the younger version of him. You definitely. It feels like I have Lee Cockerell here. Yeah. When I spoke to Dad, he also seemed to evolve in his management style. That first he was not effective, and he was probably the guy that everybody got scared, and he was the yeller.
Right.
So when do you think he came into his own? And how old were you at that time that you started to? Did you see a change? Did you even notice it, or were you too young?
I was probably too young, and I kind of heard the stories later about the learnings he had and the way he had sort of dealt and treated people and the kind of awakening he had on this whole leadership journey. And it was definitely later in his career that he realized that you can still get things done, and not everything is get everything checked off a list. It's really how you treat people along the way. So we kind of, and we do that at Disney. You hold yourself accountable for the results and how you get the results. And sometimes how you get the results is even more important than actually getting to the final product.
Again, I don't know, age-wise, did his leadership at home change also? I would think that it would, wow, Dad is, his reward system is different.
No, he was, I didn't see a big change there. I mean, growing up, we traveled together as a family. We did lots of great things. I remember he made a conscious decision when I was in high school, and this may have been about the time he was starting to sort of reevaluate things. And I remember he traveled a ton. He was flying out every week. He was out flying all over the country with Marriott. And I remember he had made my junior and senior year, he had made dedicated to be there on weekends for the football games. And so he would get like filet mignons and these steaks from Marriott. And I still talk to friends of mine I played football with. And they said, we've never eaten so well in sports than when your dad was like helping out. We were in the school cafeteria eating these great steaks. And he thought that was really important to be part of that. He couldn't be there during the week, but the weekends he knew that he was going to create some great memories. And I remember that vividly.
And I don't mean to leave Mom out, because I have seen photos, and it looks like she's always making the greatest tables for the holidays and stuff that's on Dad's page. So shout out to Mom, too. I know we leave Mom out all because we go
Yeah, she has been the support, his support, and he always talks about the fact if it wasn't for her, he couldn't have done any of this. And she does. She keeps, we have a lot of great traditions in our family to get together as a family, and she goes over the top every time. It's pretty memorable, yeah. All
right, so now I'll get into what I know they want to go. But Lee Cockerell, DanCockerell.com is where we're going to go to find out about all these. Do the companies can hire you?
Yeah, companies can hire me, individuals. I had some people call me directly and say, can we talk for a couple hours? I have some questions and I want to hear some things about some thoughts I have. I also have an article of the week. It's free. And if you sign up, subscribe to it, every week you'll get an article. I kind of curate articles. I've been doing this for 18 years, so I wanted to continue to do that. So every week I send out an article. I send out a quote, a little blurb about what the article's about and why I think it's important, and then an article on leadership, communication, balance, whatever the topic is. But they're really things that I think are important, and it's a way for me to sort of give and develop people and give them an opportunity to learn.
And we can sign up for that email right on the website.
Absolutely.
Okay. If you're an individual, I would say get Tim now, because in a couple of years you're not going to be doing individuals. I don't think. I was going to say. We have this idea, or at least I do. The vice president of Disney wakes up and does this. I don't think it's what we think. Can you give me the summary of a day? You get up. Are you going to the Magic Kingdom or are you going to an office? Give me a summary of a day as the vice president of the Magic Kingdom.
Boy, so the great thing I loved about that job was there is no day. There's no typical day. Okay. I mean, every day, you just never know what's going to happen. But at a base level, it always starts extremely early. I've learned, when I say the companies I work for, working at Disney, I learned that if you can get out of the gate early, be ahead of the curve for the day, the whole day is much better. So I usually am out. I get up 4:35 in the morning. I'll go work out, and I call that my therapy, because I figure if I can go run or swim or do something, no matter what happens to me the rest of the day, I've already done it to myself. And so it makes me, that's how I kind of deal with stress and deal with feeling good about how I'm getting things done. Then the great thing about technology now, I have my iPad, and basically my office is anywhere. So I would have days where I'd drive halfway to work, stop at Starbucks, and spend an hour and a half there just doing my emails.
No, when you say drive to work, you're driving to the Magic Kingdom?
Yes.
So you're walking around the park or backstage or something in the Magic Kingdom?
Yeah, I park at the Magic Kingdom behind Main Street East, behind the bakery in that area. Our offices are on the second floor of Main Street. Those are all facades up there. And so we don't have any windows, which is always a downside to working at Magic Kingdom. But the great thing is the walls shake a little bit during the 3 o'clock parade, and you can hear all the music out front. You can hear the ballerina and the singing lessons right next to my office there. You can hear that background going all the time. And it's right there in the middle of the park, so you can be anywhere instantaneously. And my day would look like some meetings with people. The reality is, and what I discovered over time is, the vice president of a park doesn't do anything in particular. And so, because you don't run merchandise, you have a general manager that runs merchandise, and you don't run engineering because you have a extremely smart engineer who runs engineering, and you don't run food and beverage. So you don't have a specific responsibility. It is about creating the environment. You create the environment that everyone gets to work in, and then you just turn them loose and let them do their thing. So half of my time, interestingly, was getting out of the way. I love to get involved with things, and I'd go into a meeting and step in and sit down and start participating. And my general managers, we had a great agreement. They were very upfront and very candid with me. And sometimes they'd say, "Dan, thanks for your help. We got this." And so that you translate that as basically, I got kicked out of the meeting. Go do something else. And so I'd go around. But at the end of the day, the most important thing I could be doing is just be around and be visible and talking to cast members and talking to leaders. And I usually get back to my office with a list of 15 things that needed to be fixed, or I'd get ideas of things we should be working on, or I'd run into a guest who asked me a question, or they'd show me their app and say, this isn't working. And so I was able to go back and send a note. to the vice president of our digital team. So on one hand, I'd wandered. My perfect day at the Magic Kingdom was wandering around with no agenda. And because I'd learned a ton of stuff, and in that role, you have a lot of authority. When you call people, they answer the phone. And you can send emails. When you send an email, people respond quickly. And you could get a lot of things done quickly and fix things along the way. And that's, you're just trying to get barriers out of the way for your team and just let them run.
And from that, now I know why people are worried that you're leaving. Do you know who the replacement is?
Yes.
Have you ever trained this person or?
Yeah, he when I let my boss know that I was leaving, she said, "Any suggestions?" And I said, "Well, I figured we have probably a better succession planning than just asking me who we should hire." But I said my number one choice is Jason Kirk, and by some miraculous thing, they listened to me and they brought Jason Kirk on. So Jason is an extremely personable guy. He's got 3 kids between like 8 and 14 years old, so he'll be in the park all the time. Really smart. He has an industrial engineering background. He was part of Disney California Adventure when it was reopened as a general manager there. And most recently, he was a vice president of transportation. And so he's got a really great operations mind and very personable and connects really well with the cast, very low ego. So I was really happy they chose him.
Is he gung-ho excited?
Oh, he is. Basically, they announced it. I went in on Sunday, cleared my office, and he was there the next day. I said, all right, your office is my office. I'll be in the conference room down the hall. You start moving in. They visited that Sunday night before he started with his family. I mean, they're super excited about being there.
All right, Jason, we're holding you to this.
That's right. You better do well.
I mean, he already blew up the Maleficent float. You mentioned the 3 o'clock parade.
Look, I'm not saying he did that, but all I can tell you is on my last day, I left the park at 2:30, and that happened somewhere around 3:15. So I'm not saying it was him, but I can tell you it wasn't me.
All right, can we speculate real quick? I've seen this parade. I love it. I see the fire come out. I see sometimes the wind blowing back. Are we thinking the wind blew back?
I'm sure they're investigating what happened.
Okay.
My guess is
that's what I'm saying. Complete rumor guess.
My guess is because she and I had a really good relationship, and I think what happened was she was actually crying tears of fire because she knew I'd left. So I can't say that's the reason, but it's possible.
What I am happy is whatever failsafe is hooked up to the propane tank was not affected because that could have got.
Yeah, well, they have from a safety perspective, they have all kinds of. I mean, they shut it down. They got a fire extinguisher. I mean, they train for that all the time. So,
in your guess, I know you may not be able to confirm. You think she'll be back?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I can't imagine her not being.
We have to. The head's got to be redone. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, they'll rebuild it, but we built it once. So we can build it again.
Yeah, it's a beautiful.
It
thing.
is.
I love that.
Yeah.
Let me go through here. I asked some Facebook people for some questions, and okay, again, some of this to me is silly, and I'm generalizing it. Everybody mentioned food in the Magic Kingdom compared to Disneyland. They're not happy with it. Is there an issue with food in the? I seem to think it's okay, but is there something going on? Do you hear this a lot when you were there?
We're always working on food quality. I haven't benchmarked against Disneyland.
They all seem to write the same thing. Why does Disneyland have so much better food than we do?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Tell me what item it is. I
asked them for specifics, and nobody really did. Yeah. Like, the one specific you hear all the time is Tony's Town Square.
Yeah.
My thing was, it's because it's Butoni. We have to use Butoni products, maybe, instead of Patina Group coming in there.
Well, I'll tell you this. We have a new chef and a new manager at Tony's.
Oh.
And I ate there like twice the week I left because I was going to town on my expense report because what are they going to do, right? So I was taking some of my managers there, and we have a brand new menu, and the pizza, they're using new dough, they're cooking, they're making all the pasta in-house fresh.
No.
Yes.
At Tony's?
Yes.
Okay. Why are we not yelling this out of the rooftops?
There's a lot of stuff going on in Magic Kingdom. So I would tell people, go back. And I'm taking my wife back because 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, when I got there, we went to Tony's and she looked at me and she said, "This isn't Mama Melrose." And I said, "I know, we got to work on it." And Jerry is our new chef there, and he's doing a great job. So I would tell you, it's been upgraded pretty dramatically.
Okay, so right now the pasta's being made in-house at Tony's?
Today.
Okay, they need to shout that.
They have gnocchi, handmade gnocchi. We got the great pizzas. They're not oval anymore, they're round. We went back to traditional round pizzas. They got fantastic food.
All right, so they're working on it. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
The other most common thing, and this is really popular with me because it goes back to my childhood, I love Happily Ever After. Love it. And I'm one of those people that I was attached to Wishes, didn't mind it so much after that. But the nighttime parade. I hope they don't believe in the long term that Happily Ever After is replacing nighttime parades in the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
I don't know what you can and cannot say or what you feel.
Yeah. So there's two things. Well, there's many things we look at, but one is we look at guest ratings. We look at how the impact of certain spectaculars, certain attractions impact the overall experience of the guest. And we've added nighttime spectaculars, Rivers of Light. You got the illuminations running at studios now. You have the new Star Wars fireworks show. So there was a lot. We knew a lot of that was in the pipeline, and so we decided to step back from the parade when the electrical parade went to Disneyland. And I can tell you, we certainly are exploring. And when I left, we were looking at. I don't know if something's gonna come back, but I think we recognize not only it really creates a great environment at night, but it really helps us with our exit flow. When you have something right big in the middle at night to slow people from leaving, people just have a better departure experience, and that's pretty important at the end of the night when people are tired. So, Jason will work with the team on it, but it wasn't written off, and it wasn't guaranteed we were going to do it. But we've heard.
So you think
feedback.
maybe by the 50th anniversary, maybe?
Well, at the soonest it'll be the 50th.
Okay.
And if we're going to do something, 50th would be a place to drop whatever new things we're going to do.
So we're thinking of creating something new, possibly.
Yes.
Awesome.
There you go.
Considering what happens, between the daytime parade then and now, so much bigger and just grander, I think something new for the Magic Kingdom would be awesome. So I'm excited about that.
You hear that, Jason? I'll make sure he sees this.
I got to get to Jason.
Yeah, you do.
Eventually. Because one day, Jason, you'll be here too. No, maybe not. Maybe in 20 years. What is your favorite spot of the Magic Kingdom? You usually just a spot that you say, I don't want to tell people, but I kind of like just sitting right here and looking around. Or do you want to get out of there when you're done with work?
No, there are. There's probably 5 or 6 places and times to be there. If you come in at 5 right at sunrise and you're on Main Street, and there's like 1 or 2 people walking around getting some things done, getting ready to open the park, and it's just quiet. There's no music playing, and the castle's there, and it's awesome. Same thing at night. We do rehearsals sometimes, and if you go at 2 a.m, stand on Main Street, and it's all lit up, and you're the only one out there.
That's amazing.
Very cool. And then a really, really cool place I showed this to Jason before we left. We were walking the park, and I was telling him about projects and people and things. And above at the Speedway, there's that glass structure. It's kind of on a tilt. It looks down into the load area.
Okay.
And that's where there's a little room up there where we train cast, and there's some computers and things, and you can sit up there and just overlook the Speedway. And sometimes I'll just grab my iPad and go up there, and that'll be my office for a couple hours. I do some emails, meet some cast coming in and out. But there's some really neat nooks and places. Diamond Horseshoe up on the 2nd floor. There, you can sit up there and kind of hear the piano going and watch what's going on downstairs. So there's a lot of places these little niche areas I used to go and just get some work done and hang out.
Diamond Horseshoe, I would imagine I was connected to Walt while I was up there. Do you ever do stuff like that? Do you ever get into the nostalgia of it all, of where you're at?
Well, yes. When I first got there and they told me I was going to Magic Kingdom, I thought I felt queasy. The pressure of thinking you're gonna be in charge of this thing, because I know it's just it's impacted millions of lives. I mean, when you talk to the amount of people that. Oh, I remember there when I was a kid, or it inspired me, like you were telling me earlier, inspired me around creativity and doing things, or that's where I got engaged, or that's where we celebrated after my father passed away, and we had there's all these things that happen there that you're responsible for along the way.
This gentleman wrote, I think his name was Anthony Fario, and he remembers a gender reveal that he did with you. I'll put that picture up. I don't know if you remember that. His son Dominic, you revealed the gender with a hat.
Oh my gosh!
I know that you've done this probably a million times. Anyway, he remembers this as the best time. So when you were saying things, that impact
and you get to be part of that, and you want to make sure.
He thanks you, by the way.
That's very cool. But it's exciting, but there's a certain amount of pressure every day. People have saved up for years, and this is the day they're coming to the Magic Kingdom. And so you just can't have an off day. Every day just has to be fantastic. And the team has a high sense of urgency, and knowing that every day is a new day. I don't care how many days you're open, it should feel like the first day. And it's hard to get there. And some days we don't get there, but that's our goal.
If you had to say a go-to training thing to a new leader, what would be the go-to thing? Instead of saying, hey, go read my dad's book.
Okay.
Have you written a book yet? You're gonna, aren't you?
I got some thoughts.
Okay.
Rumbling around.
I can't see you not writing a book.
Yeah.
What would be your go-to direction for a new leader?
When I sit down and talk to new leaders, right away, I tell them, you need to go out and walk around and meet every single cast member that works in your area of responsibility. Whether you're the general manager or you're an operations manager or you're a proprietor or you're a frontline manager. Because what a lot of new leaders do, they want to get out there and prove to everyone that they deserve to have that job. And so they start making decisions and they want all these great new ideas and they want to show people how much they know. Well, the reality is, we know you can do the job because we picked you to do the job. So we don't have any doubts you can do the job. You don't have to prove anything to us. But the long-term investment is going to be in all the people there, because that doesn't automatically always happen. And we find in a lot of companies, people work together for years. And all of a sudden one day, they don't even know that, what do you do on weekends? Or do you have kids? Or are you married? Or there's all this personal stuff that somehow we just don't want to, we're so busy, or we just don't think to bring, or people uncomfortable bringing that to work. But we're asking them, we're asking the cast members to make that personal connection with the guests. And if we can't do that with our cast members, then it's never, the role model has to be there.
It's worth more than money. Burn the free fuel.
Yeah.
Talking to those cast
exactly.
members.
You got to spend time and invest in them, and then all the other great ideas will come along the way. But that's not what we're looking for up front.
MagicBand, where do you see it going? Where do you see the technology? What could it be in 5 or 10 years? Something big?
Yeah. So there are, we're doing some pilots. We just did a pilot, I think it was maybe at the Wilderness Lodge, or that you can use your near-field communication on your iPhone to open the doors of the...
I saw that.
So what we're learning is, I think, you have the MagicBand technology, the RFID, but we're also recognizing that people, they can incorporate it into their own devices. So we're starting to see how much we can push technology to people's devices for park tickets or photo pass or opening your room door and that kind of thing. The difference between, I think, a phone which has the near-field communication, touch to pay, touch to enter the room, touch to get your photo pass. The great thing about the MagicBand is it has the battery, so it emits a signal. So it does more than near-field communication.
Right.
It can emit a signal within, I think, 30 feet around you, and that can, in the future, will be able to trigger all kinds of incredible things. And we're still trying to figure out how to operationalize that. Having the technology is one thing, but how to bring it to life in a 3D environment is a whole
We do
other
see it
thing.
in attractions, possibly.
Yeah. Well, today, for example, if you go on Small World, when you come out, your name pops up on the screen.
That is back. I know they used to. That went on and off for a while.
Yeah,
it is back now.
That's in, and so the MagicBand makes that happen.
The Haunted Mansion did it once too.
Yeah, Haunted Mansion, we did a pilot over there with that. We had some ideas for pirates, and it really the sky is the limit. One of the I'll just share an idea that I had when I left. If you go to the Sword and the Stone, you lift the sword. And imagine in the future that instead of having someone maybe trigger the sword, maybe if your band has been given, you've been given magical powers
by Merlin or something.
By Merlin or by a princess.
Got it.
Then you can go up and lift the stone, and it just happens because you have the powers. So there's and that's just probably the tip of the iceberg on this personalization.
That could also help the Star Wars, where they say your legacy goes with you.
Yeah.
Through the Star Wars.
Maybe there's a door and no one can open it, but your little 5-year-old can, because he has the Force, and he can wave his hand and the door opens because he's got that power.
We would like that.
How cool would that be?
And I just mentioned the word legacy. What is the legacy that you hope you leave behind in the Magic Kingdom?
I would say it's probably the same legacy that I hope I leave with my family, and I think it's the same legacy my dad hopes he left at Disney and my family, is that people remember you. And they talk about you, and they remember what they learned from you, and they remember how you made them feel. And I think that, because then at the end, we're going to build lots of stuff and do lots of things, but people, all you have at the end of your life is really the memories and the interactions you had with people. And that's really important to me, the ability to invest in people's lives. And I've had lots of people invest in me, and so this whole pay it forward thing. And if you remember the plot from Coco, that was the idea. The day people don't remember you is when you die.
Yeah.
And so I love that concept and that idea that with our kids, we still tell stories about my grandmother and my grandfather and my kids' grandmother and great grandfather. As long as we keep telling the stories, they're alive, and they're alive in our minds.
This is the perfect segue for me to give you a question that your dad gave me.
Oh boy.
I think he said it was 1986. He wants to know where the video is of a party that a Dan Cockerell had while he was away in Europe at a Maryland house where the police were involved.
That's hearsay, and there is no video, and nothing can be proven. And if it could be, there's a statute of limitations, probably not with him, but legally. So it's very, it sounds familiar, but I really can't remember any other details of that incident.
Was it an epic party?
It was awesome.
How old were you? Oh, yeah, I don't know if you may not want to say, but approximate.
No, I was
a teenager.
17.
So you weren't okay. All right.
I was 17. It was. If you have to know.
I just want to know when the police came. Were you petrified? Like, why did this happen? Too many people.
Yeah, too many people. The word got out, but the next morning, all the neighbors got up because there was all this noise, and the neighborhood was clean. There wasn't one can on the ground. And
so, how did Dad find out?
Someone at Marriott at the headquarters stopped by his office and said, "Hey, my son had a great time at your house." And so that's how I got busted. But everything was clean and taken care of. So they'd heard things had happened, but there was really no physical evidence.
All right. I'm glad you took that good. I thought after Dad gave that to me, I'm like, I don't know, Dan. I don't know how this is going to go. And I'm like, maybe Lee was drinking when he gave me this question.
Yeah.
He told me the response could be magic or tragic.
But I'll say I was trying to leave a legacy for my fellow high school classmates and creating the memories they'll never forget. And I think that's what happened.
Dad will never forget that, apparently. Last question for you. 50th anniversary. Again, from what you know already, going to be big?
It's going to be huge.
Okay.
Because
these other anniversaries, they're kind of like, all right, we have a little march in the street, and it's
right. Well, I think there's a few things happening. One is when you look at the investment happening at Walt Disney World right now, a lot of this is going to come online between now and the 50th. So people who haven't been here in a while, they're going to come and they're going to see new hotels, they're going to see new attractions opening, new fireworks shows. I mean, that's all coming as we build up to the 50th. And then the other thing is, when you look at the amount of people, and I'm not sure what the number is, how many people have come in 50 years to Walt Disney World, but I think someone mentioned in passing, I don't know if this is true, like 1 in 3 people on the East Coast has been to Walt Disney World at some point in their life. So when when you think about the memories people have, and we went down there, we got in the station wagon, we drove down when our kids were small, and now they have kids and they've been down with them. This idea of going back to a place to celebrate these big milestone anniversaries is going to be really big. So I think it's going to be enormous.
Jason better get ready for the 50th.
Yeah, it's going to be quite a celebration.
All right, we're going to send people over to. I keep wanting to say Lee. He reminds me of Lee so much. To dancockerell.com.
There you go. Thank you.
Anything else we should be looking for, or is it all going to? It's all going to be on there.
Yeah, it's going to be there. I'm going to continue to push out things through Facebook and LinkedIn and other areas, and just getting some presence and letting people know what I'm working on and what I'm doing. But if you go to dancockerell.com, my cell phone number's on there. My contact information is on there, and if I've had a few people Disney call me and say, "Hey, I'm working on my MBA and I want to talk to an executive at Disney about for a project," I say, "Hey, I got lots of time now to do what I want to do," awesome. And I love doing that for people. So
from all of us Disney fans, thank you. If someone calls you from Disney and needs some help, please take their call for us.
Absolutely.
And give them something.
I'll do that.
Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for the time.
Come back soon. I mean, like in a year from now when you're doing something else, we'll plug it again.
Anytime.
Thank you, guys.